Good afternoon. Well, my story begins. I think I should go, to the beginning of my life. I was born in Taipei, Taiwan. I was born in a very, very big family. Many of you don't know, but my father is YC Wang Yongqing. He's considered to be one of the most successful businessmen in Asia for the last 50, 60 years. So actually, the Taiwan public and the Chinese public have a really big, great misunderstanding that I'm born with a silver spoon in my mouth, which is totally not true. Okay, my father's not only very frugal, he's a real Chinese dad. Okay, so we were born in a very big family, and my mom actually took me and immigrated to the United States, went to Northern California when I was the age of 9. My mother left Taiwan. Instead of being Mrs. Chairman, now she's an immigrant in the United States. She doesn't speak any English. We came with $3,000 in her pocket, and that's it. All right, and my father, because he was very upset about my mother leaving Taiwan, and so he gave us a budget of $800 a month to live. And so we have to live just like everybody else. Just like everybody else, all right? When I was very young, I don't have much spending money in my pocket. So I would think of ways like I would sell erasers, and buy low, sell high erasers. I would make model airplanes, and I remember one time I wanted to buy a bicycle, right? And those shiny bikes I see little kids riding. My mom goes, okay, she found this really rusty bike, right? It's really broken, rusty. I think somewhere in the junkyard, and just throw me a paint. Okay, I was silver, so we spread it over. That was my bike. My mother there when I was very young. After college, I went back to Taiwan. There's 9 girls in our family and 2 boys. The boys always have to start from the factory. This is the root of my father's company is manufacturing. Petrochemicals, manufacturing. Okay, you can see this is the number 6 naphtha cracking. That operation there alone generates about $30 billion of business a year. All right. Formosa Plastic as a whole, just in case you don't know, it's public information, is a $70 billion company. So when I went back to Taiwan, what I did was I started 3 shift rotations. When you're in a plant 24/7, almost 365, you start with 3 shift rotations, which means 1 week you work from 8 to 4, and then next week 4 to 12, and then the week after, midnight to 8 o'clock in the morning. So that's all the 2 boys, me and my brother did the same thing. So I did this for over a year. And then 1990 comes. My father had a huge argument with the president of Taiwan at that time, Li Denghui. And many of you know Chinese. He has a policy called 借机用人. Okay, so basically it's a monopolization of petrochemicals and oil business. My father wanted to build that naphtha cracking plant that you saw there, but the government wouldn't give him permission. All right, so tip for that, he was very upset. So he took a plane, he flew to New Jersey. Our US operations headquarters at that time it still is in New Jersey. And then I don't know what came about him. All of a sudden he thought, hey, Walter's in Taiwan. My youngest son is not married. So he writes me this fax, and that time was all fax. Come, Jersey. So I came. And tell you a funny story. I was very young. One time he called me to his office. We were working 7 days a week. That was General Formosa Plastic work mentality. One day he called me to his office. He said, Walter, do you have a girlfriend? He said, if you don't, I can ask my secretary to marry you. I'm sure she will. And I said, no. I have a girlfriend. He goes, where? I said, Taiwan, Shirley. So she goes, I asked Shirley to come. Now we've been married for almost a quarter of a century. Shirley saved my life. And this is the first time she saved my life. Okay, so going through the JM, we he put me in the plastic pipe division of the Formosa umbrella. That time we have 11 plants. So I was very young. I was a little bit naive. So, but I knew how to sell. I was selling erasers, remember, since 5 years old, right? And selling model airplanes. I knew how to sell, all right? So I changed the sales platform. At that time, in 1990 to 95, we developed the internet platform already, very early. We used that sort of B2B to sell. Okay, so when I joined JM in 1990, it was a $200 million business in the red. So through these 10 years, we took the company to over $1.6 billion. Okay, 90% organic growth. Now, of course, the US market at the time was growing, right? The economy was prospering, and we had room to grow. So after working for my father at the JM for many years, come to 2003, all right? My father, 2006, said to me, Walter, do you want to buy this company and be your own boss? I said, of course. You can be your own boss. Who doesn't want to be? I mean, especially been working there for 13 years. Now, remind you, for 1990 to 2000, even though I was running the company as a CEO, I never had a title. I remember when I took over the CEO job, when I was in the mid-20s, I moved into the CEO office. It's empty, right? I'm the CEO, acting CEO. I moved in the office. My father saw me moving to the office. The night he goes, Walter, what are you doing in the office? That's the CEO office. You're not the CEO. Then I had to move out the next day. But I was still acting CEO. So in 2003, my father goes, I'll sell the company to you. So I said, great, let's do a leverage buyout. You know the leverage buyout, right? So I said, I don't have money. I was making $50,000 a year, okay, as a CEO, right? Where am I gonna get the money? And my dad goes, it's not my problem. You go find your money, right? So I looked for 2 years. My father still loves me very much. He stepped in and guaranteed $30 million. Okay, and the valuation of JM at the time was, by all the bankers, was 300 million. I said, okay, valuation fair, market price, right? My father said to me, okay, now you found banks to support you and you're my son. That's why I'm selling the company. But I need to charge you 10% more. I said, what kind of 10% more? But the bankers have $300 million valuation. No, you need to pay 330. Why? Because you're my son. You need to pay more. Because, JM was owned 90% by public companies in Taiwan, Formosa Plastic Corporations. So my father always say, well, I have to do the right thing for my shareholders. So and then you're my son, you need to pay more. Okay, I don't have a choice. I don't know if some of you know my father, you can't argue with him. Okay, so for 2 years, right, I found the money, the $330 million. It was Halloween 2005. Okay, the paper was this high, you know how it is, sign the leverage buyout. I was so excited. But it was a few months before that, it was 7-8 months before that, life has its twists and turns. I had a lump here. My face became numb, okay? And then went to see the doctor many times, and it was a cold, was a flu, was a nasal infection, whatever, okay? And so, but the lump here, the doctor said, well, you have to go do a biopsy. So October 31st, signed the closing, went to biopsy November 1st. 10 days later, the biopsy came out and said, Mr. Wang, you have 4-stage cancer. And Shirley and I was like, we didn't know at that time, what do you mean by stages of cancer, right? So what's 4-stage cancer? Well, the pathologist says, well, 4-stage cancer, the cancer I have is called NPC, nasopharyngeal carcinoma. 4-stage cancer means if you don't get treatment right away, the doctor say, well, Mr. Wang, you have 1 year to live. What do you mean you have 1 year to live? What? I was quite young, and my 3 children were very young. And what can you do? I mean, I have gamut of emotions. Anger, denial, frustration, right? I'm not such a bad person, right? I deserve to have cancer. What have I done? What have I done to deserve this cancer? Then what can you do? When you have cancer, you have cancer. You have to walk through it. My capable wife, loving as she is, picks up the phone, calls everybody all over the world, all the doctors, all the best hospitals. We lived in New Jersey at that time. The best cancer institution, Sloan Kettering, people know, right? Great institution. And then, of course, my father owns the biggest healthcare system in Taiwan. We have 5 hospitals, over 6,000 beds. The biggest hospital system in Taiwan. Of course, go back to your own hospital in Taiwan. Makes sense, right? NPC, United States, there's only average of 500 cases a year in the whole United States. Taiwan, 3,000, Hong Kong, 3,000, South China, 7,000 a year. So we call, and then we found this great doctor at Sloan. And his awards is like all over the wall. And Jatin Shah, still remember his name. Went to see him because, we asked Dr. Shah, said, where should I get treated? And he said, well, of course, me. Your family's here, your friends are here, you have a base here, but only 500 cases. And then he said, well, I've been to your hospital in Taiwan. I lectured there many times. A great hospital, but I would recommend that Hong Kong. Then later on, we have a friend that's father actually developed the first protocol how to treat this disease. I must tell you one thing, Shirley says that, she hardly ever see me cry, okay? But the first big tear I came was that day I found I had cancer. You know why? Because of my kids, and Shirley, of course. That night, I climbed into my daughter's bed. She was 7 years old at that time. Her name is Chantel. She was sleeping. And I told her, she was sleeping. And I told her, Chantel, Daddy's very sorry. I may not be able to watch you grow up. I may not be able to walk you down the aisle. I was in tears. I was in tears. And then I had to call my 80-year-old mother and tell her I have 4-stage cancer. That wasn't easy either. That night, we really, kneel down. We're Christians, so we pray to God. Now, doctors can treat this, but only God can heal. So anyways, we saw Dr. Shah, and then we go to Hong Kong. The next day, we picked up, Shirley called 2 of our best friends, one best friend, my college friend, Vincent, in Hong Kong. And then so 2 days later, we flew to Hong Kong. We got in contact with a Queen Mary Hospital, Hong Kong. People, Hong Kong knows. It's a very big public hospital. So in Hong Kong, right? We went there and we saw the nasal doctor and the oncologist. We had appointment the next day. And the doctor goes, well, you really need to see the oncologist. But he's so busy, Jonathan Shame is so busy that we don't have an appointment until next day, right? So he said, well, Dr. Shame is downstairs. I'll call him if he's here in his office. He'll come up. It's really, he called him, and he said, oh, Mr. Wang said, okay, well, I'll come up right away. 1 minute, he saw this guy, sort of half jogging up. He saw my PET scan, my MRI. He goes, Mr. Wang, I tell you what, okay? It's about 11 o'clock now. You go have lunch. 1 o'clock about, I want you to check into the hospital. Okay? And so I checked into the hospital. I didn't know what's going on, right? He was nice enough to find this really nice private room, but it's very, very, very small. And I saw 3 nurses, 2 or 3 doctors came in. And it's coming with this, this IV bag, but it's black, right? It's covered with black plastic. And his needle is about this long, right? I still remember, right? It was this long. Whoop. That needle in, then I found out that was chemotherapy. Well, guess how many hours I had it? I had 4 days straight of chemotherapy, 96 hours. They just keep on changing the bag, 96 hours. 4 days. I was devastated. I couldn't sit up. I couldn't walk. I was devastated. But turn back a little bit of comedy relief so that you're not bored. Even Vincent, right? This friend of mine, actually was another friend flew in from Malaysia. His name is Richard. He came in. Vincent goes, Richard, we're having lunch. They're having lunch, and then he said, well, Walter and Shirley is coming. Walter's going to have cancer treatment. They're all both Christians as well. They're, let's pray for it. So I said, yeah, of course. We need to really pray for healing, right? Pray for healing. All right, so after lunch, they tried to go their separate ways. And then all of a sudden, Vincent saw this European lady rushing, she was so, in a rush, and she was so, like, frightened and everything. And I said, Vincent, it's a stranger. Vincent goes up to her and said, may I help you with something? Are you lost? She said, yeah, she didn't speak Cantonese or Chinese. So she said, oh, I need to get there. I don't know how to get there. I'm so late for my appointment. He goes, come down. I will help you. I know Hong Kong very well. And this is how you should go, and I'll make a phone call for you to tell me you're going to be late. He said all these things for a stranger, just off the street. So Richard and Vincent went on separate taxis. And then Vincent's cell phone rings. It's from Richard. And then Richard goes, Vincent, yeah, I want to have what you have. He goes, what's that? What possibly can I give you that you don't have? Because on the other hand, Richard trades his own stocks. Family is very wealthy from Malaysia, and he lacks nothing. He's materialistically, he's very, very wealthy. But he goes, I want what you have. I want to have the compassion you have. That you can stop in the middle of the street and help a stranger out. And then Vincent goes, well, if you want compassion, you're going back to your Shangri-La hotel. You're going to pray for Walter's healing, right? You go pray to God to give you compassion, right? Your earnest prayer will be heard, and that, God will give you compassion. We always tease Richard. He only has time for you for 1 hour. He's like, his face is written like, your business, not my business. Don't bother me. Okay? I'm kind of selfish. He said it very clearly, too. Not my business. But he goes back. He wants that compassion. So he goes to the hotel room. He prays for healing for Walter and Shirley's here, and pray for compassion as well. Now, afterwards, this is what he told us. This person lacked compassion, right? He tells us. He was praying, right? He said, well, I heard this voice. And he said he believes from God. What did God tell you, Richard? God said, Richard, something like this. Richard, I don't want you to just pray for Walter and Shirley. I want you to be with them. Richard immediately goes, what do you mean? You mean me being with them through the whole 5 months of cancer treatment? Oh, no. I'm flying to, God, I'm flying to Whistler tomorrow. He goes to Whistler ski for a month and a half out of a year. He goes, I'm flying to Whistler tomorrow. You know me, right? I can't. How can I stay? I have my plans. I have my schedule to keep. And then he stopped praying again. And then he said he heard this again. Same voice. The God tells Richard, won't you do this for me? And Richard, he says, God, if you're God, if I don't listen, I might go out and get hit by a bus, or I might get struck down by lightning. Okay, so this Richard, not a compassionate gentleman, he accomplished Shirley and I for 5 months in Hong Kong. Okay? So after his first treatment, 96 hours, and he said, Walter, I'll pray for you. So Shirley rented an apartment for us. I was lying in bed. I was like, it's like one leg into the grave. That's how you feel. Half dead, basically, by 96 hours of chemotherapy. Right? And then Richard said, well, Walter, don't worry. I know you can't move. I'll just sit beside you on your bed, and I'll just pray for you. So he sits beside, and he prays for me for 4 or 5 hours a day. And not a compassionate person. Always don't want to do something only for himself and not others. But he says every day. And then I've been a Christian since young because my grandfather, first believer. But, he goes, Walter, let me teach you something. do you know how to pray? I'm just very open here, all right? TED Talk. I'm gonna teach you how to pray in tongue. I said, what's that? Okay, it works. This really works. You pray basically in God's language. When you're facing death, right? You will try everything, anything. It's Christian, right? It's okay. So he's keep on leading me to pray in tongue, but my mouth was just not open. So he was 2 weeks. Both of us was really frustrated. Richard he was. Oh, what am I going to do? So he said, well, Walter, there's one thing very important about being able to pray in tongue, right? And that is forgiveness. Walter, are there anybody in your life that you can forgive? And I looked at him. Well, I got to be honest, right? I have 3 people in my life that is really difficult for me to forgive. Oh, everybody knows. One is my dad's third wife, okay? But I did live with her for over a year and a half when I was in New Jersey. So he says, you have to forgive because Jesus came to forgive. If you go the opposite way, you're not going to receive healing. So, okay, he goes, how do I do that? Write the names down. No matter where you are, if you cannot forgive you in Timbuktu, you still carry that grudge with you, right? So if you're going to really forgive, you have to pay down the debt yourself. Really forgive those people. So that's what I did. In the name of Jesus, I pray, I forgive. Immediately, all right? I'm a pretty serious guy. Immediately, I felt this warmth of this energy, right? Inject from my head to my belly. Immediately, I began this wild laughter. Big, huge wild laughter, right? For about 10 minutes. And then Richard and Shirley was saying, what's happening to this guy, right? It's uncontrollable laughter. I was jumping up and down, rolling on the bed. But after just 10 minutes, I came down, and then I felt my body was as light as a feather. So next round of 96 hours of chemotherapy, I had altogether 195 hours of chemotherapy, all right? So next round of chemotherapy, Shirley was ready with pillows and everything and toaster ovens, whatever. Goes in there, and then another round of chemotherapy, 96 hours. I'm not looking forward to this, but what it is what it is. So another 96 hours, and what happened? I said, one thing I did to Shirley, during that 96 hours, I said, Shirley, I'm hungry. Oh, that's a good sign. And what do you like to eat? Being away from the States for a while, I told Shirley, let's go buy some pizza. So Shirley goes, what kind of pizza do you want? And Hong Kong has those Pizza Express scooters. I said, buy 5 pizzas. And then the scooter came, the pizza delivery came, and then we were eating pizza in the room. And then the doctors came in and goes, Mr. Wang, what are you doing? I'm eating pizza. What does it look like? You can digest pizza? Yeah, I ate 2 pieces already. You want one? Anyway, I know time is limited. So fast forward, so I have very little, side effect from 195 hours of chemotherapy. But the next round of treatment is radiation. Radiation is the doctor say, I guarantee you have side effects. I guarantee you. Okay? So yes, so the doctor said, well, I'm going to give you some, injection, either seizure here or do a surgery here to inject, proteins and improve into you so that, you have some energy and strength to fight this radiation. So after 2 weeks, I refused, by the way. I refused to do that, do surgery. So after 2 weeks, I told my wife, I'm really in pain. Because, once you have radiation, I had 37 sessions of radiation, 34 minutes each session. So by 2 weeks, my neck was black. I had pus coming out of my neck, all right? And you have cold sores. I have cold sore all the way in my mouth to my throat. It takes me half an hour to drink half a glass of water. All right, so I was really in pain. So Shirley goes, okay, told you so, doctor, you don't listen. Okay, so we go see the doctor, and doctor goes, Mr. Wang, from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, most painful, where are you? And I say, well, I try to be macho. I say, I'm 6, maybe a 7. He goes, yeah, 2 weeks. 99% of the patients usually are 6 or 7, pain scale, right? So he goes, okay, let me open your mouth. There was 2 doctors there. Let me examine your mouth and look into your throat. They looked at it for 2 or 3 minutes. They looked at it again and again. He goes, Mr. Wang, and on our pain scale, right, you're a 1. All right, so virtually there's very little damage. And he said to me, well, I've been a doctor for about treating this disease for almost 15 years. I never seen a case like you. You have to tell me what family secret recipe, what Chinese herbal medicine you're taking, but so I can pass it to other patients. I said, I'm not doing it. I'm not taking anything. There's nothing. And he said, well, Mr. Wang, really, you're doing even if it's a secret family recipe, you have to tell me because you will do other good. I said, really nothing. And he goes, please tell me, it really works. And I said, do you really want to know? The doctor goes, yeah, please tell me. I said, all I do is pray, power of prayer. And then the doctor looked at me, he got even more upset at me. Right? Why do you make up something like that? I tell him the power of prayer works, right? Well, anyways, so through this treatment, the doctor was very good to me. By the way, right, remember that company I bought? Right? I owe $330 million, right, to the banks, right? So I was in Hong Kong for 5 months, right? I couldn't really manage the company, right? When you become an owner of a multi-billion-dollar company, $1 million company, you want to what? Make it more into shape, right? You want to rationalize the management, right? Be more efficient and productive, right? So I couldn't possibly physically be there. So I prayed to God, I said, God, you have to take care of this company, which, it's your company too. Well, I guess who's a better manager, God or me? Well, in that 5 months, this company made so much profit, it paid back half the debt in 5 months. Well, I said, God's a little bit better. I'm not that bad, but God's a little bit better. So after all the treatments and everything is done, and we went to thank our doctors, and anyway, so we went to Hong Kong for checkup, and we were living in Jersey at that time. I asked Shirley to move to LA because you got to live where you can live, right? New Jersey, 17 years is enough, and it's so cold there. Even though it's a great state, but it's so cold. So we decided to move to Jersey, and then Shirley goes, well, I can't move to Jersey because you're going to move the whole family, the kids got to go into the right schools, and they got to move the whole headquarters to LA? Are you kidding me? I just went through cancer treatment, 5 months of it. You would be kidding me, right? So secretly, she actually prayed to God and said, well, I want a divine sign. If we're going to move to LA, I want a divine sign. And I asked Shirley, what actually I asked, what is your divine sign? I said, maybe it's because our 3 kids are applying to 1 private school each. If they all get in, right? The same, right? All get in, then that's a divine sign. It's very hard. But Shirley, they don't tell me what they know. They did get into the schools, right? And I say, oh, Shirley, that's a divine sign. Let's go. And Shirley actually secretly prayed to God. God, that's not a divine sign because I had to write 8 pages of application for each kid. That's 24 pages. That's a book for me, right? And it's a human intervention. But God, I cannot cure cancer, right? Only you can. So next time we go to Hong Kong for checkup, when I left, I was 91% better. 91% better. So if Shirley goes, well, if it's 92, 93 on the uptick, then that's a divine sign. But if it's going down, I can't deal with it, right? My husband's still really sick. I cannot deal with it. So guess what? I went to Hong Kong for checkup, and then the results came back. I was 100% better, 100% recovery, right, from this 4-stage cancer. So let me move on to this, okay? So when you face death, you realize many things. One of the most valuable things is life is really precious. Life is really precious. We come naked, we go naked. What is the legacy you want to leave? Success is very good. You work very hard for success, hard work, right? But it's not about success. It's what? How do you define legacy? Success, really? Make a lot of money? Make powerful friends? No. I think the legacy that we can all and should leave is, what have we done for others? What have we done for others? Whom you have loved? Whom have loved you? That is the legacy. So therefore, because we do charitable work before, but after the facing death and after sort of conquering death a little bit, so we support universities, schools, and so forth and so on, many programs, many charitable work. But, I like to do things in efficiently. I can say at a large scale, but efficiently. One of my most proud projects was we donated 400 miles of pipe to 8 countries in Africa. Right now, today, is delivering good water to 350,000 people. Only $8 per person. And they can enjoy the water, they can irrigate their farm, and so forth and so on. Okay. So there's always opportunity and capacity for all of you and all of us really to make a difference. So our motto for our company, our philosophy for success, yes, profitability is important for growth. Sound management is important for growth. But ultimately, what does your company want to do? Your set goal and objective is to give back to the society, to help the fellow human being. That is our goal. When you have that goal, to achieve profitability is much easier. It's much easier. So that's the life lesson I learned. Again, life is precious. Please manage it well and take care of your loved ones and love more people. Thank you.